I mean, this is just my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree. You know what I mean? But argue with your grandma. Flopping has ruined our game. Joel Embiid is a great player, one of the best bigs in fucking basketball history. Flops. He know it. This ain't breaking news. This ain't, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Y'all can clip it up. Like I said, y'all can post it on these paid accounts that y'all, these bot, whatever. That's just my opinion.
You know, basketball is a really funny sport because about an hour ago on the BoxInOne channel, we dropped a video titled In Defense of Jaylen Brown, basically going through the entire saga from the end of the Philadelphia 76ers series to now, talking about the unfair media coverage Jaylen Brown has been receiving and why he deserved a lot more credit for this past season, and why, most importantly, the Boston Celtics should not trade him. Well, an hour later, Shams Charania announced that Jaylen Brown was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks. This is by far the dumbest trade we have seen Brad Stevens make in such a long time. Allow me to explain. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BoxInOne, a basketball podcast and social media content creation platform created by Roischand and Joachim, myself talking right now. We're just going to get straight into it. Boston, you're stupid. This is one of the dumbest trades I have ever seen in NBA history, in recent NBA history, because it's been a lot of dumb trades, and it's hard to say that right after Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis were swapped. So since the Luka AD trade, this is the dumbest trade I have seen in NBA history. You swap Jaylen Brown for an aging forward who has a $57 million player option in the 27-28 NBA season. You get no real substantial draft capital. Rudy Gobert went for 4 first-round picks, but again, after the Luka Doncic trade, with him going for 1 first-round pick, it makes sense why these guys are going for less and less picks. And it's so crazy that Mikal Bridges went for more first-round picks than both Luka Doncic and Jaylen Brown combined. Just to put it in perspective, you don't get any substantial draft capital, and you trade an elite two-way wing for an aging, formerly elite two-way wing. And this is the part that makes it worse. This is the Philadelphia 76ers team that walked you down in the playoffs to come back down 3-1 and beat you. And then you trade him to that team, making them substantially better. Yes, this is a 76ers team that lost Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes, but the issue, especially with Grimes on that Philadelphia team, and it's why they traded Jarrett McCain too, is the fact that you had VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey getting most of the reps, right? Kelly Oubre signs where he signs. Obviously, you lose those two, but still, you give your ops a better player than what they had at the position. It makes 0 sense. It makes absolutely 0 sense. When I got a text from Rois telling me about this trade, for a split second I said, oh my goodness, we traded Jaylen Brown for Joel Embiid. This is perfect. It's not perfect. It's terrible. I don't understand this at all, right? I don't understand for a team that needs a big, yes, you get Mitchell Robinson. For a team that needs a guard, okay, you get Mike Conley. That's not the same thing as looking over to Portland and saying, hey, we want Scoot Henderson / Drew Holiday back, and we want Robert Williams III. This is what we want for a guy like Jaylen Brown. But again, reports are coming out that were saying that his price was actually a lot lower than the Boston Celtics thought. But you don't settle and trade him to Philadelphia. You don't make your ops better unless you have no plan on beating your ops. Again, is this the season where you do a soft rebuild? Well, funny enough, last season was the time to do it, but Jaylen Brown went absolutely crazy. The Celtics finished second in the East, 56-26. Jaylen Brown showed you guys you were only a couple of pieces away from being a contender again. Get a big, get an actual guard, trade Derek White. That's all you had to do. And I would argue if they just kept Simons instead of getting Vucevic, they probably beat Philadelphia. That's all you had to do. And you trade Jaylen Brown. You strike out on the Giannis deal. So your next best thing is Paul George instead of a haul for multiple players? That makes absolutely 0 sense. For Philadelphia, though, this is an amazing trade, right? VJ Edgecombe getting a chance to learn from Jaylen Brown. Paul George leaving Philly, and you're getting a younger, hungrier version of him. They're not the same player, but an elite two-way wing. You have Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, Dean Wade, Joel Embiid. So even if Joel Embiid gets hurt, you do have another guy that can go for 25 points per game. Plus, that takes away some of the pressure for Maxey and Edgecombe to be the two guys generating victory on the offensive end for the Philadelphia 76ers. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. Who knows what those are going to be? Unless it's like, oh my goodness, Boston just got the second coming of LeBron James with those picks. They're really not going to matter unless they use them to get another player. But even still, you can't just trade picks you got immediately right after. Get getting them. So it's just really confusing. I don't understand Boston at all. You had a guy in Jaylen Brown, 6 Eastern Conference Finals in 8 years. I don't think people realize how hard that is. Because we saw Braun do it for so many years, we thought anybody could do it. But the fact that you had a duo that went to 6 Eastern Conference Finals in 8 years, 2 finals, 1 in 1 of those finals, got a ring. They were dominating the East. They were always in the conversation for best team in the Eastern Conference every single year since those two became a duo in 2018. And you trade that away for Paul George, a 36-year-old Paul George. And that's not a knock or a diss to Paul George, but Paul George is going to be 38 by the time this contract with Boston finishes. And you're probably not going to be anywhere closer to getting a ring. This move doesn't help the lack of a facilitating guard. The Boston Celtics are not going to win a ring when Jason Tatum is your best facilitator. That's not how it works. That's why when you got Jrue Holiday, a guard with elite two-way IQ who could actually facilitate, you ran through the East, albeit the East was injured, but you ran through the East and you got a ring. You literally did the recipe 2 off seasons ago when you got Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, and then you trade them both away. Fine, apron, and you don't try to run it back? You signed Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley hoping to do the same thing, and I like the Mitchell Robinson acquisition, but you do need a big that can also be an offensive threat. You don't have that a lot in Mitchell Robinson unless we're going to see Derek White and Peyton Pritchard pick and roll, and Mitch is going to be catching lobs every possession, but that's not innately his game. He's a defensive anchor, a great defensive anchor, but that's not innately his game. I'm very confused. I'm a little bit disgusted from the Boston Celtics. You trade away Jaylen Brown to your op, who, funny enough, was not even a fan of the Philadelphia 76ers, specifically Joel Embiid, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. But you trade him to your op, and you make your op way better, and you get a 36-year-old in return. What are you doing? That's just embarrassing. With that being said, though, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow all of these socials in the description. Wherever you get your basketball content, we are there. Whether it is X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, where you're watching this video, Spotify, Instagram, we are there. Again, for the last time, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all in the next one.